was very ominous.
Woo!
I like it.
Dread it. Run from it. Fate always arrives. Is this on? Wow, it's already on. And I didn't turn it off.
Listen, Lynn's a professional.
Whoop. We should hide me under one of the like rows sometime.
No, sometime we should.
Yes!
That would be great.
I just pop
That's what
out
we're
whenever
doing.
we need it.
Do you remember the days we used to play sardines?
Oh. No.
Okay. In like 5 weeks, we can play sardines. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
How will they know? So we're going to have to turn off YouTube. Goodbye, everyone. No, I'm kidding.
Stefan,
okay.
should I wear the hat backwards?
Yes.
All right.
Why would you even ask?
I just need to know if we should try it for...
Of course you should.
Yeah.
See you later, boy.
Hey, that's where the Christina Aguilera's... Wait, is it Christina?
No. Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, Lavigne. She invented rock music. Actually, no, she didn't invent rock music, but she invented skater punk.
So if you're looking for something fun to do, look up Avril Lavigne conspiracy.
Oh, what?
There is a period in history where Avril Lavigne disappears for a little while
Oh.
due to Lyme's disease, and then she comes back, but she
It's
does
our
not look.
generation's Paul McCartney theory.
She doesn't look like the old Avril Lavigne. Her voice is a little bit different. I'm convinced.
That's literally like the modern era's
Yes.
Paul McCartney's thing.
She died and someone replaced her.
It's literally the same thing as the Paul McCartney theory, where Paul dies in a car crash, and he retreats
Look it
to
up.
Scotland.
It's
or
very
something.
convincing. I found this at like 1 o'clock in the morning a few weeks back, and I'm like, whoa! Listen, the things YouTube suggests it just knows me so well.
Yes.
True story, last night I was up I stayed up until 10:22, of course.
Nice.
Yeah, clap for Tuesday. That was fun. Once in a lifetime opportunity there. Did you? Nice. So you all know that I have a hamster now. His name is MC Hamster Pants.
Nice. I'm gonna make that my rap name.
However, my kids call him Eminem, which is
That's
way
good.
lamer.
Wait, you should get him
So
like the
MC
black
Hamster
hoodie that
Pants.
Eminem
Yeah,
always wears.
Right? It'd be great.
That thing probably is just
And
disintegrated.
did you know that hamsters are nocturnal?
Yes. Did he do
Yeah.
like his?
I found that out last night because he just kept chewing on his little plastic cage that we have. So I got like 2 hours of sleep. So, I'm about to let him roam free.
Yes. He might get eaten.
He will be an outside hamster, free range.
He might die, like very easily.
He will most likely die.
A lot of them get heart attacks from just loud noises.
No, they don't. Half of them poop themselves out,
Yeah.
which. So our hamster we got him in December. So I'm pretty impressed that we've kept him alive so far because
Nice.
2 of the other hamsters from the same group of hamsters have already died. So like, yeah, go
Family
us.
tree is probably a circle though.
His brothers and sisters
Are
make
also
it.
his cousins.
Someone threw a hamster?
What? Were they like a 5-year-old?
Did you know that violence to animals produces sociopaths later in life?
But it's also a 5-year-old, so. All right, if they were
I'm
if
just
they were a
saying,
child If there were a
Google
child,
that after the Avril Lavigne stuff about people who grow up after they've abused
I
animals.
listened to almost all of Avril Lavigne's discography on the Monday we had off.
Yeah?
Yeah,
It was pretty good
it was
music.
great. And I was playing Skate 3, so.
All right, let's get going with announcement-y things.
Announcements.
The biggest thing we need to talk about is the rule.
The rule.
The rule.
The rule. Do I choose someone
Brooklyn?
who knows the rules?
Be good.
She
It's
knows
simple.
the rule.
She does. Yes, clap for Brooklyn.
Still waiting
Clap
for that
for the
shirt.
rule.
That would be like a skatewear or like streetwear
Yeah.
shirt. It should be good, and like you'd have people like tear it up. Oh, make it like long sleeve, so when people
Yeah.
fall, it gets torn up, and it's like
Yeah.
super cool Instagram.
And it'll be
post.
like a really dark shirt, and then the text will be just a little bit lighter,
no, but like
so you
No,
can
just
barely read it.
pitch black shirt,
Yeah.
and just the whitest white you can find.
Yeah.
That's just be good, right on the center.
Believe it or not, we have leaders.
Wow.
Woo!
Whoa.
And they're awesome. There's Lynn in the back.
Hi, Led.
Clap for Lynn. Amy is doing French things, so message
Oh,
her
say.
and teach her French to expedite this process. Just Google Translate random things and send them to her. Yeah. See what happens.
Our next person,
Who knows? It could
who is
happen.
actually here, is Stefan.
Stefan, that's me.
Chad is Sunday.
Sunday is starting again. How many of you are ninth grade and above and paying attention? Hey-oh. What? Yikes.
Nelson would fail 5 times.
Yeah. Sunday nights at Windy Gate. Where's that, Stefan? I'm glad you asked. It's in Beaverbank, Sackville area. If
And
you
then
need
there's
the
me
address,
up
I can
here.
do that.
There's also me.
There is.
The Avril Lavigne cover art. I am, in fact, the skater
Fantastic.
boy. Except I'm not a famous rock star yet. And I can't remember how to skate. I need to reteach myself.
Oh, good question.
I don't even have
See,
a board.
Now that
If y'all want to give me a skateboard,
I'm not ready to make definitive statements
not a penny board, I
around
swear
this,
to God.
so the fact that he has a microphone should say volumes, but I won't quantify those volumes.
What? Wow. Loud noise.
Loud noises.
It's literally, it's just scat right into the microphone like this, where it's so close to your lips. It's just
It's the beard. That's what it is.
scoopity pow pow.
Okay, those are the leaders.
Yes.
Clap for them one more time. Yay. Okay, one more announcement that I want to make before we do a game. If you heard the news today, you know that there is a soon coming date of things being let go, and we all cheered about that. However, okay, so here's what's happening. On next week when you come here, I no longer need to see your vaccine passports. And you're like, I haven't showed you that in a long time anyways. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so if there are people that you wanted to invite to youth group that can't come because they don't have vaccine passports next week, they can, okay? I don't know who that would be, but it is a possibility. As we move through March, restrictions are set to ease incrementally. I'll have to look up exactly what that means for us, but at the time being, I don't think anything major happens. On the 21st of March, restrictions are set to disappear from history. You may clap. And I made my own conspiracy theory. Sorry, YouTube, we're getting demonetized. Okay, so 2 years ago, we started March break, and then you never went back to school because of COVID. Now you're going back to March break, and you're going back to school like COVID never happened. Plandemic. Alternate universe confirmed. I'm just saying,
All right.
it's crazy.
Before y'all start
Social
saying the Queen's a
experiment.
lizard, All right.
We just aged you 2 years and you didn't notice. Okay, so
What's next?
as restrictions go away, I'm going to be planning some stuff, okay? But I want you to be aware that March the 21st is a long time away. In COVID days, it's a long time away. There is a lot that could transpire in that amount of time, and we've been told by the government before that in 2 weeks we'll be free, okay? This is a lot more than 2 weeks, okay? So there's a lot of time up until that period, okay? That's all
right.
I want to say.
What's
Okay.
next, Stefan? I'm holding it like this so it gets even louder.
I was supposed to get paper, and I completely failed to
I
get
should
paper.
hold it like this.
Entertain the troops. I'll be right back.
Hi.
Yeah, entertain them.
Or this is what they do, like some music guys do it like this. They hold it all the way up here.
Guten Tag.
Wow, why do you have a mic? Did you just have it in your pocket?
Definitely.
Look how long my finger is. Just
Whack. Anyway, you want to hear some conspiracy theories?
okay.
Okay, so you know how Stefan, he was talking about this pandemic. You know what's suspicious? The Queen just got COVID. Planned? I think so. The Queen has scared off COVID. I think the government is trying to
They're
hide
hooking
this.
her up to her throne like the Emperor from Warhammer 40K.
True.
Emperor of mankind. It's gonna be.
Whack.
Do a dance.
No.
Yes.
You do it.
Do a dance.
Who wants to do a dance right there? Yeah, go. Right there.
Brendan, what's your favorite flavor of
I'm
ice
really
cream?
not comfortable with
What is
this.
your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Ice cream type.
I like strawberry. Have you ever mixed strawberry and mint chocolate chip?
Yes, it's pretty good.
It's good.
Hot take.
Y'all should also try mixing tiger stripes with literally anything.
Oh, yes, it is good.
Have y'all ever put licorice into vanilla ice cream?
No,
And like
I'm
real
saying-
licorice,
Wait,
not your crappy red stuff. Real
Ethan,
licorice.
Ethan, you're saying that the red stuff is worse.
The red licorice is not licorice because
But
it
it's
does
so
not.
good. It's
it
so much
doesn't
better
come
than
from the
any other
licorice
type.
plant. It's not licorice.
It's better. Ice cream.
Tiger stripes, it's orange. It's orange with black stripes. I don't know what the black flavoring is.
Interesting.
I'm the dumb blonde, so
All right, everyone, give Brendan a round of
It's
applause for
paper.
entertaining the troops.
it's paper.
Okay. Actually, I have one more task for you. Can you pass out a piece of paper? to
Haha,
everybody?
Brendan, you're doing all the work. I can
Thank you,
stand
sir.
up here and talk to a mic. Woo!
Okay, once you have your piece of paper, find a writing implement. How? Okay.
Y'all?
In the seat pocket ahead of you, there ought to be a pencil. If
Steph-
you don't have one, stand on your chair.
You ever find it funny how Brendan's been here longer than me and I am the one in the co-host position?
I have no wonder why
I
that
think,
happened.
honestly, I think it's because I made a better connection with you right off the bat. I was charismatic. You know, for someone,
I was charismatic.
I maxed out my charisma at the start of the game.
Oof.
I told the Vaultex
happens.
salesman, charisma 10.
Okay, does everyone have a pencil? I feel you, Joanna. There is a box of pencils on the side of the sound booth wall if thou needeth a pencil.
A wooden tube with a piece of graphite in it.
Yes.
Non-poisonous. We have expanded the
Okay,
number
once
2
you have your
pencil.
piece of paper, number it 1 through 11. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1 to 11, Brendan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Shh. Can you what?
She's doing math. Don't listen to
Yeah.
her. Oh, my Lord. Don't listen to them, Stefan. They're trying to corrupt you. It's a natural number.
With their maths.
They aren't integers. They're natural numbers because they're counting numbers. Oh, my Lord.
Once you have 1 through 11, put your pencil in the air
Wow.
like you just don't care.
It's like in Hunger Games.
and wave it around.
Is it 3 fingers and then... Is it 3 or 2? No, it's 3. I can't whistle. See?
All right, I see most pencils in the air. Put them down. We're going to play a
Alrighty,
game,
Spidey.
and the game is Poorly
Poorly explained
movies. Okay, we will fixate on a small detail in the movie, and we will explain the movie via
Yo.
that.
The Western music's on.
The Western music is on. Yes, I love it. Sure. Okay, I'm going to
go.
put up a description of the movie. You're going to write down what you think that movie is. We'll go through at the end, and we'll tally up how many points you have. The winner is the winner.
Wow.
All right, here we go. What?
Because there's 11 rounds, bro. Bro.
Someone's figured it out.
Bro. I'm the co-host, so of course I know everything. I'm not told anything, but I just know it.
This is the
Alrighty,
real
Spidey.
reason why you got the mic.
Alrighty, Spidey. Let's go into
All right,
round
here
one,
we go.
Stefan.
Skinny kid takes steroids, fights Nazis with a frisbee. Write down the title. Take a wild
Don't
guess if you
scream
don't
it
know.
out.
Yeah, don't yell it
Nerds.
out. And don't copy off your friend. Don't
If
copy
y'all-
off your
If
enemy.
y'all copy, you are getting a 0. And it will go into power score.
I like that this is a spaghetti western. I need a good cowboy hat. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're moving on.
All
Round
right.
2.
I'll do round 2. Round 2! Guys spent a day telling people stories related to chocolat. That's probably the easiest one.
If you've seen the movie, this
If
is
you've
easy.
seen the movie. If you haven't, y'all are out of luck. But if y'all have read the book and or
So
seen the movie,
I'll be keeping notes on the ones that people lose, and we'll have youth
yes,
movie
that would
nights.
be very important. This is a
and
sociology
we'll educate the kids.
test. This is just a sociology.
Okay, everyone ready? We're moving along.
Round 3.
Round 3, here we go. Farmer has to save Earth, but it ends up in a different dimension.
Ooh, this one might be a bit tricky for some reason.
Farmer has to save Earth, but ends up in a different dimension. Farmer.
Huh.
Again, if you've seen the movie. All right, you've got something written down. Write down Farmer Clem.
Haha.
Nelson, you cheater, Bo Beater.
I'm going to confiscate your phone, Nelson, if I see it again. You're getting a 0 in power score.
Yeah, 0 in Power School.
It's something that us public school kids have to deal with.
It's your permanent record for life. Round
All y'all
4,
are in
here we
private schools, you
go.
wouldn't know that.
In 2, 1, round 4. Take it away.
All right, dude teams up with a bunch of the same dude to fight a fat, bald dude.
You keep your
Naughty, bro.
answers to yourself. Don't yell them out.
Y'all ever seen Michael? I don't think he's real. He's in that one Batman movie, The Dick. Didn't he was he the first muscly Batman? I can't remember.
Who do you follow up?
I can't remember. He's like 85 now or something, isn't he? He's old, I think. He might not be old. Okay.
Okay, round 5. Here we go.
It's round 5! Woo!
Local law enforcement dealing with high-tech new replacement.
Huh.
Oh, I know this one.
Interesting.
No, there's one movie that encapsulates this. You could probably jam this one down a few. Toy Story. Yeah. What? Yeah. Okay, write something down.
It's round 6.
Round 6.
A man uses some insects to break into. Sounds gnarly, dude. Insects. We don't see insects in movies much.
Huh.
It's usually like a horrid childhood scarred like animal
Yeah.
movies. Like ants.
Or
You
B
know that
movie.
movie?
I do know.
B movie was not scarred. It was very
If you were allergic to B, it was bad.
It's so inaccurate though that I can't watch it because
All right, round 7. Everything in this movie would be annoying to step on.
What?
I identify with this so
I might know this
closely.
one. I might have. All right. This is a tricky one, Stefan. This is another one where you really need to know
You need to know.
your stuff to get it.
If you know, you know. All right, if you've got it written down, we're moving along. With or without you. Round 8. This one's you.
Yeah, I know that. Round 9.
Oh, round 8. Round 8
Wait,
is you.
what?
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is you.
Round 8. Kid beats up his girlfriend's dad, save the world. That's like every Disney.
Wait,
TV.
wasn't there a song like that? Gonna marry you anyway.
Oh, that horrid song.
He wants to.
I
For
saw so many crappy edits back when I was an adolescent on YouTube to that song.
Yeah.
Literally any.
I didn't know that I
Disney-
would have gotten this one.
Any Disney movie that was on like in the early 2000s on the TV channel, that was like that. But there was the one about the girl trying to do motocross or something. That was pretty cool. And she
Round
like dressed up
9.
as her.
Kid uses an inflatable toy to avenge his brother's death.
That sounds like an anime.
Inflatable toy to avenge his brother's death.
That's just a My Hero Academia quirk or something, and
All right,
it's like one.
we're moving along. 2 rounds left. It could have been. I could have just deleted one. Here we go.
Round 10.
Round 10.
Alrighty, a hairy man kidnaps a kid and enrolls him in a school of fairy tales. That one is probably an easier one for most of us. Like even if you haven't read it or seen it, you would probably know this one.
All right, last round.
Last round.
Here we go. Round 11. 2 workers make a mistake that induces worldwide terror, but ends up solving its problems.
Bill and Ted versus the Forces of Evil. I could probably moonwalk on this.
Do it.
I can't moonwalk. I can't. What?
All right, lock in those answers.
Lock and load, boys.
Those fingers are moving furiously over those keyboards.
Alrighty. Stefan, we have our first round answer.
We do. We do. All right,
what
everyone
is it?
stand on your chair. Up on your chair.
The chair.
Up on the chair.
Your chair.
Up on the chair. Up on the chair.
Nelson,
Up
get
on
up
the
on your chair.
Up on your chair. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to reveal number 1. If you got it wrong, you have to sit. Okay?
All right.
Here we go. Round 1.
Number 1.
The movie is Captain America.
America!
So many sitters.
That was literally the easiest one.
That was the easiest one. Fighting Nazis with a frisbee.
And he gets buff.
Yeah. Yeah, steroids, scrawny kid.
Captain
All right, back up
America
on your
should-
chair.
there you go,
Back up on your chair.
Just
Round
pull up.
2. Here we go. Round 2. The movie
Round
is Forrest
Forrest
Gump.
Gump!
No. No, he doesn't talk to them about chocolate. But he doesn't spend the whole day doing it.
I actually got this one wrong in my head. Wow. If it mentioned
All right, well,
running-
next time when you make the slides, you can
If
change.
it was running
Okay,
chocolate, I
stand
would
back
run.
up. Next slide, we're gonna go to.
Interstellar!
Wait, you got this right? Wow, I'm amazed.
That's a good movie.
I'm impressed. All right, back up.
Alrighty.
The next one is.
Next one!
Spider-Man
Spider-Man! Into
Wow.
the Spider-Verse!
Lots of rejoicing. I like it.
That's a good movie. I quite enjoy that.
It was a good movie. All right,
Better
back
than
up.
MCU.
Back up on your chairs.
Back up!
The next movie.
Nerds. Next one.
Our next movie
next one?
is.
Toy
Story.
Story!
We even blurted that one out loud. It was your idea. iRobot would have been acceptable.
iRobot is trash.
Oh, there was another movie I was thinking of.
Is a
I can't
nerd.
remember what it is now. Anyways, I would
No.
accept iRobot.
That
Because
is
that's
not
what came to
acceptable.
mind when I saw. All right, back up, back up. Next movie. Here we go. Is
Ant-Man!
Ant-Man.
Why are so many people
Oh,
standing?
I can see who the non-movie people are. They're obscured by the movie people. All right, back up. Next movie. Literally everything in this movie would hurt to step on.
The
Lego
Movie!
I would have also accepted Lego Movie 2,
Lego
or any of the
Movie should come
Batman
out.
Lego movies.
I am the Lego Movie.
Okay, next one. Here we go. Next slide is
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, Maddie, did you get that wrong? So sad. All right, back up.
MJ
Here we go
as
again.
Zendaya is the best form of
Here we
MJ.
go again. His brother beat people up with an inflatable toy. Big Hero,
Big Hero 6!
What? Hey, I think they're making a live-action TV show about this.
That is going to be horrible.
Most likely. Oh no, it isn't. Is it animated? Yeah.
I
that's right.
am Baymax.
Baymax.
Hello.
Okay, next one. On your chairs.
All right.
On your chairs.
Next one. I think everyone's going to get it wrong because they only wrote that one.
Yeah, you have to include the whole thing. For this
Whole
next part.
thing, remember?
Harry
Harry Potter and the
And
Sorcerer's
the
Stone!
Sorcerer's Stone.
The whole thing! If you did not
anyone
write down the whole thing,
Did you
sit
write down Philosopher's
down!
Stone? Because that would be wrong.
If you just wrote Harry Potter, sit down.
All right, next movie is
Monsters,
Monsters,
Inc. I love Monsters
that one
Inc.
took out a lot.
Wow!
What?
Wow! Wow!
Did everyone die on that one? Sad.
Wow!
Wow.
I am flabbergasted.
Total carnage.
I am bamboozled.
Yeah. Yeah, you could really tell the more enjoyable films. Yeah. Yes.
Marvel is not enjoyable films.
1 right out of 11.
All right.
Who got 10 right? 9?
Can't trust these kids
9
to say it
right.
themselves.
Wow. 5 winners. Good job, guys. That's a lot of. You got 2? Yeah. Woo! Hey, not last. So
Stefan.
5? Oh. 8? That's respectable.
Stefan.
I
have
would
an
say
idea.
that's a close second, but it's actually a close 6th.
Ha! Stefan, an idea.
Yeah.
I do the entire lesson, but in like a skater bro voice.
Have you heard, like, I don't remember what the TikTok filter is, but like it reads your text in like this skater voice guy. I don't know who it is. Terrible story. Good story, Stefan. Okay, we're gonna transition now into the lesson time. That means you
I'm
give a round
gone.
of applause to my co-host.
I am gone.
And moonwalk off the stage. Or, yeah, do it. Maybe not. Oh, I think I'll pay for it in other ways. All right. Before we jump into the lesson tonight, I want to provide you with a little bit of background. Now, we've been talking about the story of Joseph for the last few weeks, and I want to paint the picture of where the story of Joseph falls in the Bible. Okay, so it's going to be in the first book of the Bible, and if you've watched any of the Bible Project videos, they are excellent. Search them up on YouTube when you get home. Fantastic content. So this is the book of Genesis, which encompasses our story of Joseph.
We're walking through the book of Genesis, which is made up of these 2 main parts.
And the first part begins in the garden, where we watch humanity spiral downward in self-destruction, and it ends in the Tower of Babel, where a rebellious humanity is scattered by God.
Then the second part of Genesis zooms in and focuses on just one family.
And right in the middle is this story that links the 2 parts of Genesis together and helps us understand what the whole book is all about.
So how do we get from the Tower of Babel to the story here in the middle?
Well, after the scattering at Babel, there's this genealogy, and it follows one of the tribes all the way down to this one guy named Abram.
You probably know him as Abraham.
And God starts making all these promises to Abraham, like he's going to bless him and give him a ton of kids. And he says that through him and his family, all the nations of the earth are now going to find God's blessing. So basically, God is trying to restore humanity back to the goodness of the garden and to his original intentions for the world. So it's like his rescue plan for humanity. And that's why the whole second half of Genesis is about this one family. And so you have Abraham, and then he has a son Isaac, who has Jacob, and then Jacob has 12 sons. And to each generation, God renews his promise to bless them and all nations through them.
So because of this promise to use this family to rescue the world, it's pretty easy to read these stories as examples of how to be a good person.
But actually, for the most part, this family is totally dysfunctional. So for example, let's go back to Abraham. This whole story is about God giving him and his wife Sarah a family, but 2 different times. He basically gives Sarah away to other men by denying that she's even his wife. And then Sarah gets impatient about having a son, and so she makes Abraham sleep with her servant girl, which then causes all of these other problems in the family.
So they get really old, and you begin to think that there's no way they're going to have a kid of their own. But then, miraculously, they do. It's Isaac.
And Isaac, he has 2 sons, Esau and Jacob, and it seems like things are going pretty good.
But Jacob, the younger brother, wants the family's inheritance, which belongs to Esau, the older brother. So he devises a plan where he's going to steal it from his father, Isaac, who at this point in the story is now old and blind.
Which, who does that? Horrible, stealing from your blind father.
Yeah, and then he just takes off.
So Jacob goes on from there to have 12 sons, big family. But Jacob loves his 11th son, Joseph, way more than all the others. And so he gives him the special Technicolor dream coat, and his brothers, because of this, come to hate him.
So much so that they plan on killing him.
But they don't. They instead just sell him as a slave down in Egypt.
Now, while in Egypt, through this crazy series of events, Joseph goes from being in a prison cell to becoming the second in command there.
And so later on, the whole Middle East falls into this food shortage. And Joseph's brothers, they come down to Egypt looking for food. And then when they get there, who should they find as the ruler of the whole land?
It's Joseph, that guy they sold into slavery. But he actually saves them from starving to death.
And so here you have it. These are the great-grandchildren of Abraham who have done this heinous act to their brother, but God has transformed their evil into something good.
And that's exactly what Joseph says here in the last paragraph of the entire book. He says, you guys planned all of this for evil, but God planned it for good, to save people's lives.
Now, these words, they conclude the book because they actually summarize the message of the whole story so far. Humans keep choosing evil, and we are thinking they're screwing up God's plan, but he keeps turning their evil back into good. And somehow, he's going to use this family to restore humanity back to the garden.
So that's the book of Genesis. But we still don't know how exactly he's going to use this family to bring us back to the garden.
Well, yeah, but this is just the first book, so that's what the rest of the Bible sets out to answer.
And if you were wondering, there's 65 other books that carry on that conversation. So we're talking about justice for all. We're talking about doing the right thing even when no one else is. And tonight we have a lot of things to cover, but before we get there, I want to keep it simple. When you do something wrong and maybe you hurt someone else, what's the first thing that you should say? Sorry. Good. And then if someone were to say, I'm sorry to you, what might your reply be? I appreciate your apology. Maybe I forgive you might be appropriate. Yeah. Okay, so I need everyone on this side of the room to take a balloon out of that and begin inflating it. Everyone on this side of the room, take a balloon and begin inflating it. And this side of the room, it looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so each of you are going to blow up 2 balloons except for 1, okay? So blow up 11 balloons. Blow up 11 balloons. Okay. Blow them up. While you're blowing up balloons and spreading your COVID, no, you're going to blow up 11 balloons total on your side. Okay? 11 balloons total. Wow, getting all that hot air out. Excellent. Shouldn't make you laugh while you're blowing up balloons. Okay, tie them off. If you need help tying off, find someone on your team to tie off. Okay, while you're blowing up those balloons and feeling lightheaded because of it, I want you to also find someone who's on your side who is both A, loud, and B, not afraid to be loud. Okay? Pick someone on your team, and then I want them to come up and stand hither and thither. So a loud person who's not afraid of being loud and getting loud. One on this side and one on this side. Okay, and once you have your balloon blown up, bring it to the front and lay it down on the floor in front of your gladiator. Not on the stage. Not not on the stage, right there on the floor. Right there on the floor. Right here on the floor. Right here on the floor with your balloons once you're done. Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay, are you the the volunteer for your... Okay, right down here, we're going to create a little pile of your balloons down here. Okay? Can I get a volunteer to help the orange team blow up balloons? Come on over. I need 11 balloons blown up per side. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Good. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Still need more. Hither.
Don't stand on them. I will kill you.
Okay, I won't. I'll try my best.
Commit Joseph Brothers.
Oof. That's rough. Homicide. It's not homicide, it's homicide. Bite into what? Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, good. Good. Good job, Orange Team. You've completed the easiest part of the task. Well, almost completed. Okay. You'll be fine. Tie it off.
That one's fine. Just
Wait,
tie it
3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Okay, good. Once those two are up here, we can continue. Does anyone know the Jeopardy theme song? Don't pop it. That is a pear. It's adorbsies. Okay, come on, Orange Team. Doot, 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 bum, bum. Yay. It's because I finished the theme song. Okay. All right. All the balloons are going to be down here in a pile, even the ones that you're holding. Okay. Now, this game, it has to be up here. It needs to be up here. Okay. Good. All right. Now, the object of the game is real simple, okay? But because it's part of the lesson, it has to be both educational and cheesy, okay? So what's going to happen is you are going to have a limited amount of time to pop all your balloons. The first person to pop those balloons is the winner. Just the two of you have to pop all of your side's balloons, okay? Now, as I said, because this is part of the lesson, it also has to be cheesy. Whoa! It also has to be cheesy, okay? Every time you pop a balloon, you have to yell, "I forgive you," okay? Every time a balloon gets popped, you must say, "I forgive you," okay? On the count of 3, 2, 1, go. Wow! 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 Yikes! What? Wait, can we just talk about the fact that all she had to do was touch the balloon? And they just shredded underneath of her? Yikes. Wow. All right. Clearly, the blue-green team won. Clearly. Congratulate your gladiator. Wow. I am both impressed and frightened. All right. All of the balloons need to find a home somewhere that is not your mouth or an area that it will not be accidentally popped for the remainder of the night. Okay. The balloons need to disappear. They should not be in your mouth. They should not be anywhere that they can accidentally be popped. Once the lesson is done. Okay? Okay. We're not continuing until the balloons are away. You can just put it on the floor somewhere. The balloons are away? Yes? Good. Okay, so I said we had to add the cheese factor, and so every time a balloon was popped, I made you yell, I forgive you. Now, of course, forgiving someone is not as easy as simply popping a balloon, but there are some similarities. Just like it took some time to pop all the balloons, except for Bethany, who's a balloon popping ninja. Forgiveness is a process that has to be worked through. You have to choose to do it over and over. You have to choose to do it every day until every balloon is popped and you're free from hurt. The journey of forgiveness isn't always an ordinary process. Sometimes you end up running and screaming, and sometimes you think you've completed it, and yet you find another balloon hidden somewhere, and you have to deal with that as well. But when you do manage to forgive, forgiveness is actually the thing that finally lets all the air out of all the anger and hatred that you can feel, all the hurt feelings that you have. Does anyone know of anyone who is currently holding a grudge against you? You have a grudge that's being held against you. Okay, alternately, are you holding a grudge against someone else? Always. You're welcome. Sometimes it is the right call to part ways with a friend, with someone who just doesn't make the relationship healthy. However, if we end all relationships because we have an argument or we get hurt, eventually we end up alone because that's the nature of people. But forgiveness is tricky. Everyone tells you you need to forgive. Very few people are going to tell you how to do it and why it's necessary. That's exactly what we're going to do tonight. Why should we forgive people when they've hurt us? Why can't we take revenge instead? What about when someone's really hurt us? And when we choose not to forgive, what might we miss out because we've chosen not to forgive? As I mentioned, the last few weeks we've been talking about the story of Joseph. You watched the video. Most of the story so far, it's been pretty fast-paced. A lot of things happen in the Bible chapters over very little amount of space. Like very few chapters, but the story is really exploding out of it. We pick up Joseph's story. We've got a lot to cover, okay? So we've got a lot to cover in Joseph's story. Here's what we've gone over so far. Joseph's dad, Jacob, causes a ton of issues in his family. Do you know why? Because he's the dad and he's showing favoritism to one of his sons. He gives him his pretty little coat. Because of Jacob's favoritism and because that Joseph has the tendency to brag a little bit to his brothers end up not liking him very much. One of the things that Joseph brags about is a dream that he had where he basically told his brothers that y'all are going to bow down before me and I'm pretty much going to be king. And because of that, his brothers hate him even more and they decide that they're going to kill him. They don't kill him. They do something equally as bad. They sold him into slavery. While in slavery, Joseph hung on to his hope and integrity. God blessed him all the while. Then Joseph is falsely accused of sleeping with this dude's wife. He's then thrown into prison. Joseph's character and trust in God won him the trust of the prison guard, and he's elevated into like this place of authority inside the prison. He is in that prison 13 years. Some of y'all have only been alive a little longer than 13 years. Imagine spending all of that time in prison. It's not a nice thing. During his time, 12 years. 12. How could I mess that up? During that time, Pharaoh, he's the big guy in charge of all of Egypt. Pharaoh took notice of Joseph. He releases Joseph from prison. He gives him a place of power in the nation. And a lot happened in that time. It's really interesting. Go back and read it. There's a lot more that we can't cover in tonight's lesson. But he's basically put second in command over all things Egypt. That's a big responsibility. Joseph is now 30 years old, 6 years younger than I am today. But his brothers and father are still living nearby in a nearby country. And because of a famine that's in all of Egypt, they need to go to Egypt because they've heard that Egypt has food. They are starving to death. Their long-lost brother Joseph is nowhere in their minds. They think that he is dead. And Joseph's brothers hear there's grain, so they set out on this journey. They're going to Egypt. They're going to get some food, but here's what they don't know. Because Joseph is now the governor of Egypt, he's the guy in charge of handing out food. The very person that you would not want to be in charge of handing out your food, the dude you tried to kill, is now in charge of handing you food. Oof. When the brothers arrive to buy food, they stand before Joseph and they don't even recognize who he is. But Joseph knows. Joseph recognizes them immediately. And as Joseph has flashbacks to all the trauma that his brothers once caused him, we're going to get a sense of how Joseph dealt with his past suddenly resurfacing. We're going to catch up in the story in Genesis chapter 45, verses 1 and 2. Joseph could stand it no longer. There were many people in the room, and he said to his attendants, "Out, all of you." So he was alone with his brothers when he told them who he was. Then he broke down and wept. He wept so loudly the Egyptians could hear him, and word of it quickly carried to Pharaoh's palace. And so Joseph is experiencing pain, like deep, deep pain. And it makes sense. He sustained trauma, like the things that his brothers did to him traumatized him. He was hated. He was nearly murdered. He was abandoned. And then he's sold into slavery. And then all the other things that happened to him after that. This kind of pain is not the kind that suddenly goes away when you pop a balloon or say, "I'm sorry and I forgive you." When you've been hurt as deeply as Joseph has been, it takes time for that healing to come. And this story will have a happy ending, but I want to demonstrate how miraculous that happy ending is going to be by seeing how deep and traumatic Joseph's pain actually is. Joseph couldn't stand the pain any longer. He broke down, he wept, he wept so loudly that the Egyptians outside could hear him crying. We pick up the story again, Genesis 45, 3 through 8. "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still alive?" But his brothers were speechless. They were stunned to realize Joseph was standing there in front of them. "Please come closer," he said to them. So they came closer. And he said again, "I'm Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt." Oh, good, he remembers. "But don't be upset and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. This famine that has ravaged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years, and there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God has sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive and to preserve many survivors. So it was God who sent me here, not you. And he is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of his entire palace, and the governor of all of Egypt." So as Joseph reveals his identity to his brothers, we see him do something remarkable. After all the hurt and all the trauma that he's sustained, Joseph reaches out in love to his family. He forgives when he has every reason and all the authority not to. And rather than hanging on to bitterness, Joseph lets his pain resolve. He sees God has been working in him and through him all along. He says, "It was God who brought me here, not you, because God gave him favor with the rulers of Egypt." Joseph's now in a position where he's able to save not only almost all of Egypt, but his family as well. And so Joseph gives his brothers a small chance to redeem themselves. He says, "Go back, get my father and my younger brother, and return with them." Joseph knows that they may not take him up on this offer, but he's letting them know that he trusts them enough to let them go. And so Joseph's brothers honor Joseph's request. They go get his whole family. They come back to Egypt without a fight, and the whole family lives safely in Egypt for 17 long years, and then their father Jacob passes away. It was a good life. I don't know exactly. When their father Jacob dies, Joseph's brothers become terrified. They think Joseph was only being nice because dad told him to. Genesis 50, verse 15. But now that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers became fearful. Now Joseph will show his anger and pay us back for all the wrong we did to him, they said. So they sent this message to Joseph. Before your father died, he instructed us to say to you, please forgive your brothers for the great wrong they did to you, for their sin in treating you so cruelly. So we, the servants of God and your father, beg you to forgive our sin. When Joseph received the message, he broke down and wept. Then his brothers came, threw themselves down before Joseph. Look, we are your slaves, they said. And so I don't know if Jacob actually said any of those words, or if the brothers just kind of made this up as trying to save their own necks. But it doesn't really matter. Scripture doesn't say whether he said it or not. It doesn't matter if they're lying or not, because Joseph didn't just forgive his brothers because they deserved it. Joseph forgave because he was tired of the brokenness. Joseph wanted to see restoration. He wanted peace in his family. He wanted wholeness. So he decided to help create it through forgiveness. Genesis 50, 19 and 20 says, but Joseph replied, don't be afraid of me. Am I God that I can punish you? You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. And so Joseph closes this painful story by declaring that it wasn't his brothers that put him in this position, and he's not going to judge. God will ultimately balance the scales of justice. Long after Joseph's story, like this is book 1 in a 65-book trilogy. Trilogy? No. What's longer than omnibus? Something like that. Saga, that's the word. So this is book 1. Later in the story, Jesus comes along. Jesus arrives on the scene with a vision of God's justice that would have looked familiar to Joseph. In Luke chapter 6, verse 30, but to you who are willing to listen, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who hurt you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, offer the other cheek also. Face cheeks. If someone demands your coat, offer your shirt also. Give to anyone who asks, and when things are taken away from you, don't try to get them back. Do to others as you would like them to do to you. If you love only those who love you, why should you get any credit for that? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to only those who do good to you, why should you get any credit? Even sinners do that much. And if you lend money only to those who can repay you, why should you get credit? Even sinners will lend to other sinners for a full return. Love your enemies, do good to them, lend to them without expecting to be repaid. Then your reward from heaven will be very great, and you will be truly acting as the children of the Most High. For he is kind to those who are unthankful and wicked. You must be compassionate as your Father is compassionate. Don't judge others, and you won't be judged. Do not condemn others, or it will all come back against you. Forgive others, and you will be forgiven. Give, and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more. Like that's how you measure brown sugar. You press it down, you compact it so you can fit more in the measuring cup. You shake it, just to make sure there's no empty spaces. You shake it and press it down. Yeah, those recipes aren't good. You pack it down. It's the sugar. It's the best part. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. Jesus' answer to being wronged is a reminder to love your enemies. Instead of hating them, pray for them. Instead of taking revenge, pray they turn from their wicked ways and receive God's forgiveness. Joseph spent a long time separated from his family because of the pain that they caused. And so he had a choice. He could either take revenge or give forgiveness. And Joseph knew that forgiving his brothers wouldn't erase what they had done to him, but it would begin the healing process for him and his family. And so Joseph's example it's a beautiful story of God's justice. It's the kind of justice that Jesus preached and how Jesus modeled justice. It's not justice that punishes out of revenge. It's justice that seeks to restore what was broken. There was a TED Talk from a lady who they were trying to help a boy, and they brought the boy into their family, and one thing led to another, and the boy actually murdered the mother and the girl's brother. And she talks about this experience, and she talks about how she took away the humanity of the boy. And she boiled him down to just being an enemy. And she said that was all consuming to her, that she invested all her time, all of her energy into thinking about what this boy had done on this one day in this one particular moment. In her talk, she shares about how one of the ways she initially coped with her anger at her family's killer was to stop seeing him as human, but only see him as an enemy. Soon, Sarah eventually realized that her bitterness wasn't accomplishing anything useful, and instead it was causing her more hurt. I want you to check out this video.
And I wrote him a letter. I tore unused pages out of my mom's journals, actually, and I wrote. I told him that what happened on December 19th, 2008 was not okay and would probably never be okay for either of us. But just because it wasn't okay, that didn't mean he owed me anything. Not an apology, not an explanation, not his role as my villain. I told him that I hated to be reduced to one thing that happened to me one day. I yearned to be more, to be whole. And I didn't think that I could do that if I looked at another person and reduced him to one thing he did one day and made evil the sum of his parts. I told him that I wished him a lifetime full of healing and that I forgave him.
When we first began this series, we talked about what justice is and what justice isn't. We said that God's justice is not punishment. It isn't just the thing that happens to people when they're caught doing something wrong. It's not revenge. It's not the same thing as getting revenge against someone who's hurt us. It's not a trend. It can't be a term that we throw around only when it's convenient or interesting or trendy. God's justice is much more beautiful. It's much more difficult than the world's definition of justice. God's justice restores. It's about repentance. Justice calls people who have done harm to change their ways, but it also gives them an opportunity to do so, just like Joseph did for his brothers. God's justice is about reconciliation. Because justice is about making wrong things right, our hope should always be for our relationships with each other to be healed and made whole. Joseph and his family reconciled, but that's not always possible. When we're hurt or when we've hurt someone, we can't force them to want to be in a relationship with us again. And when someone refuses to stop hurting us, we can't continue to push ourselves into harm's way. It's okay if reconciliation doesn't always happen. However, we always strive for restoration. Even when a relationship can't be reconciled, justice always seeks to see people healed. Joseph and his brothers had a lot of healing to do, but Joseph seemed to understand that restoration, like forgiveness, was a process, and a long process at that. God's vision of justice isn't about quickly moving on, ignoring harm that has been done. God's justice doesn't ignore things that are broken. It works to heal them instead. If you need a more perfect picture of restorative justice, than what Joseph's family can do for us. Just look at Jesus. The gospel of Jesus is justice in action because God invites us to repentance. Please put the balloon away. We've done harm to ourselves, to others, and to God, but we're invited to change. Jesus reconciles us to God. We're so loved by our Creator that instead of holding a grudge against us, Jesus lived, died, and rose from the dead so that we could enter into a loving, eternal, unbroken relationship with God. And God gives us restoration. The wages of sin is death, but Jesus offers new life, not just in eternity, but here and now. Jesus came to restore everything that is broken. And we can't take God out of the equation of justice. It's only through God that we can have a perspective that allows us to move past outrage, past pain, and into love and forgiveness. And so you remember the dream that we talked about night one, the dream that Joseph had where all of his brothers, or well, not brothers, but bales of hay bowed down to him, basically his brothers. The one that he used to make his brothers jealous. Well, it turns out that that dream did come true, but not quite the way that Joseph expected it to. God never gave Joseph that dream to rub it in his brothers' faces, to make him feel superior to his brothers. God gave him the position of authority so that he could rescue others. God's dream for Joseph wasn't one of power and control, but one of love and justice. And so what dream do you think God might be giving to you? How can you join God in restoring what is broken? And whether you see yourself as someone who needs to forgive someone else, those grudges that you're holding, or maybe you need to receive forgiveness, you need to know that you are loved and that justice is available to you. Not justice that seeks revenge or punishment, but justice that restores. God loved Joseph, and God loved Joseph's brothers. God loved Potiphar and Potiphar's wife. God loved Pharaoh and everyone else who caused Joseph harm. When we think justice is all about revenge, loving people we want to hate might not seem like justice at all. But God's justice is not like the world's justice. God's justice restores what is broken, and that's all of us. Jesus came to bring justice for all. Let me pray. God, tonight, as we think about forgiveness, about forgiving others, God, I have no doubt that you're bringing people to mind that maybe we need to forgive. Maybe we need to extend love and grace to someone else. God, maybe you're bringing people to mind that have hurt. They have real deep pain because of someone, maybe someone in their family, maybe a close friend, maybe even a stranger. God, there's pain and there's a need for justice. God, I pray that you would be working in these students, be reminding them of your justice, how you seek to repair relationships, to bring healing into relationships. God, if it's an abusive relationship, God, I pray that they would find help, that they would seek someone out to help them get out of that situation. No one needs to stay in those kinds of situations. That sometimes getting out of those situations is the best place for healing and restoration to begin. God, you've given us this lesson tonight, this lesson of justice. So, Lord, I pray that you would be stirring our minds, stirring our thoughts on what it is that you would have us to do with this. God, be with these students, and as we celebrate restrictions lowering, help us to stay vigilant and stay careful. And I do want to pray for any students that are testing positive and have symptoms. as well as parents and family. And God, would you may the symptoms be mild and recovery be quick. God, we love you and thank you, and I ask all this in Jesus' name.